and they can never take.
I've been trained to survive, to trust no one, to look out only for myself. But here, now,
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The story begins in a nation still trembling under the weight of its past, where the echoes of rebellion linger like smoke that never quite clears. Years have passed since the last major conflict shook Panem, but the scars remain etched into the land and the people. Districts rebuilt their streets, families repaired broken homes, and children grew up hearing stories of a revolution that changed everything. But the silence that settled afterward was never truly peaceful. It was the kind of silence that hinted at pressure beneath the surface, at unresolved struggles waiting to erupt once more. Rumors whispered through the districts about political fractures, hidden agendas, and a growing divide between those who wanted true freedom and those who feared chaos. In this delicate balance, the world finds itself on the edge of a new turning point. The power vacuum left in the aftermath of past leadership struggles creates an opportunity for new figures to rise. Some seek unity across the districts, hoping to build a nation that looks nothing like the oppressive system that once controlled their lives. Others attempt to restore order through stricter rules, believing freedom only leads to instability. Conflicts deepen behind closed doors, unseen by the civilians who are desperate for calm. Slowly, negotiations fail, alliances fall apart, and government chambers become battlegrounds of strategy and corruption. With tensions escalating, the leaders of Panem face a decision they vowed never to make again. But out of fear of losing control and out of desperation to reestablish structure, a shocking proposal emerges, something that was supposed to remain buried in history. The reintroduction of a new form of Hunger Games spreads across the districts like wildfire. Officials insist that this version will be reimagined, restructured, and symbolic rather than oppressive. They call it a unifying event, one meant to reinforce teamwork among the districts rather than divide them. But the people feel betrayal in their bones. Memories of pain, loss, and sacrifice return instantly, and citizens across Panem recoil at the thought of reliving the nightmare. The concept, however, is not identical to the brutal arenas of the past. It is reshaped into something that attempts to hide its brutality behind words like tradition, peace, and unity. Instead of children being forced into combat, young adults volunteer, or at least, that is the official story. Behind the scenes, some districts pressure individuals to join, creating a shadow reminiscent of the fear-driven past. In this new version, the arena is no longer a simple battleground. It is a sprawling, ever-changing simulation controlled by technology that manipulates weather, terrain, and unexpected obstacles. The participants are told that survival depends not only on physical strength but also intelligence, communication, and the ability to face moral dilemmas woven into the structure of the game. While officials claim it focuses on teamwork, the underlying truth becomes obvious as soon as training begins. The game may have new rules and updated reasoning, but the core remains the same. People will be pushed to their limits, forced to confront life or death choices, and tested in ways that should never be acceptable. The games are alive again, regardless of how much the government tries to dress it in purity. News of this decision triggers unrest across Panem. Small protests rise in several districts as people question whether their leaders have learned nothing from the tragedies of the past. Families who once lost loved ones to the games feel anger and sorrow blooming once more. Yet others believe the new version might foster a deeper understanding. Among districts that still struggle to trust each other, hope and fear collide in equal measure. Even the participants themselves undergo a whirlwind of emotion, some eager to prove themselves, others terrified but refusing to back down due to pressure or expectation. The emotional weight of the games becomes heavier with each passing day, casting a shadow over every conversation, every home, and every public square. Amid this rising uncertainty, a new protagonist emerges, someone who never expected to be at the center of Panem's next conflict. Their life begins in a district shaped by hard labor and quiet resilience. They grow up hearing whispers about the old games, But unlike older generations, they did not witness its horrors firsthand. Their understanding is based on stories passed down through parents, mentors, and survivors who still carry haunted expressions when recalling their past. This protagonist, however, is known in their district for a strong sense of justice and an emotional depth that sets them apart from others. They are not the strongest fighter, nor the fastest runner, but their mind is sharp and their heart is unshakably loyal. They never intended to volunteer. They simply reacted when someone else's life was at stake. In that split-second decision, everything changes, and they become a symbol without meaning to. Once chosen, they are transported to the capitals. Training facilities, modern, sleek, but still bearing the coldness of a system built on control. The other contenders come from different districts, each carrying a unique story and personal turmoil. Some radiate confidence, others hide fear behind carefully built walls. Rivalries begin forming instantly, shaped by district stereotypes, past tensions, and the competitive spirit that the games are designed to ignite. Yet, unlike the previous Hunger Games, this new version encourages alliances to last longer, creating an unpredictable dynamic where loyalty becomes both a tool and a trap. The protagonist finds themselves drawn to a few individuals whose strengths complement their own, forging early bonds that feel powerful but dangerous. Training exposes them to the evolving structure of the new arena. They learn that the environment reacts to their decisions, shifting terrains depending on the emotional states and strategies of the participants. One moment, the arena might resemble a dense forest with hidden predators. The next, it transforms into a desert filled with mirages and deadly traps. The unpredictability intensifies the fear of what lies ahead. The protagonist discovers that the challenges are not only physical, but psychological. Simulations test their moral values, forcing them to choose between saving someone or advancing in the game, between protecting themselves or protecting a lie. These choices leave lingering guilt even before the real arena begins. As the event approaches, Panem holds its breath. Some watch with hope, others with dread, and some with morbid curiosity. The spectacle of the past begins creeping back into society's culture, the cheering crowds, the colorful commentators, the obsessive betting, the celebration of survival as entertainment. It becomes clear that the darkness once associated with the games never truly disappeared. It simply waited for the right moment to resurface. The protagonist senses this shift, understanding that they are not only fighting for survival but also caught in the moral conflict of whether this new system deserves to exist at all. Every night before the games begin, they look at the cityscape through the window, questioning whether they are capable of enduring what lies ahead. When the arena finally opens, the world of Panem converges into silence. The starting moment is marked by tension so thick it feels like a physical force pressing against the participants. As the countdown ends, chaos erupts instantly. The environment shifts, the skies darken, and the arena reveals its first deadly twist-a-storm of sharpened crystal fragments that slice through the air. The participants scramble for shelter, and the protagonist uses quick thinking to lead a small group into a sheltered canyon. This becomes the beginning of a fragile alliance that must navigate the complex terrain, unpredictable threats, and emotional turmoil of the games. Trust becomes both a weapon and a weakness as alliances overlap, shift, and break under pressure. The arena pushes them through endless trials. Rivers flood suddenly, forcing them into cliffsides. Forests burn with unnatural flames that change color. Giant mechanical creatures emerge from hidden chambers, testing their strategies and teamwork. The protagonist grows tougher with each challenge. Gaining confidence yet struggling with the moral weight of the games, they become the emotional anchor for their group, guiding them through fear, loss, and desperation. But the deeper they go, the clearer they see that surviving the games means understanding the mind of the people who designed them, people who want to manipulate emotions, fracture alliances, and shape public perception. As tributes fall one by one, the protagonist becomes a rising symbol in the eyes of viewers. Their courage, integrity, and compassion capture hearts across Panem. People begin rallying behind them, believing that their presence might represent the possibility of breaking the cycle once and for all. This newfound support creates an uncomfortable tension between the government and the citizens. Leaders begin arguing behind the scenes, worried that the games are producing another symbol of rebellion rather than compliance. Some officials want to alter the arena to force certain outcomes, while others believe interfering will spark immediate backlash. The protagonist remains unaware of these political battles but feels the shift in the arena's atmosphere. Obstacles become harsher, more targeted, designed to push them toward breaking points. During a brutal nighttime sequence, their alliance is ambushed by an unexpected environmental twist and illusion maze that forces them to confront visions of their deepest fears.